to my sources, it should be somewhere around here. Maybe just a little further. Ah, there it is. I don't think I have much time. But I have to do this. The truth have to be revealed. My name is Luca. Well, at least that is what they call me. My real name? I wish I knew that myself. I had been a detective for the past 20 years, solving mysteries in the hopes of one day solving my own. Today I want to share with you the story of one of my cases, a tragedy that was left unsolved, the death of a young girl and her butler, and like many of my cases, started with an email I received from the international police while I was stationed in Eternal City. So the email says that there are some human ghosts lingering around the old chateau. That is really strange. Why will human ghosts still remain here? No matter. I don't think I'm gonna find much by staying around here. Might as well just ask the locals, see what they have to say. I knew there was something very strange about this case. While there are many ghost Pokemon around, human ghosts are supposed to be able to pass on, no problem. My detective mind started telling me that the sightings were probably some ghost Pokemon thinking they're funny by scaring people. But a case is a case, and the investigation moves on. That night I asked a few of the locals about the apparitions. Many claimed they knew nothing, others at times seemed to try to give me hints, but I came out empty-handed. So I decided to take a visit to Eternalsunrise and see if I could come across this hidden mansion deep in the forest. So I finally made it to the forest. It really had this eerie vibe to it. I have seen so much in my life. Never thought I would ever feel lost and helpless again. I pressed on forward and started looking everywhere. My goal was to find the mansion to look for clues, but the forest was a lot larger than what I imagined. I spent hours searching, but in the end, I was lost. Like any good traveler, I opened up my map to help me get around, and that is when I came across my first clue. There was a description about the area, but what really caught my attention was the last couple of sentences. It read, "Deep in the forest is the old chateau. It has fallen into disrepair after being abandoned by its owner." The owner. If I could figure out who the previous owner was, I could certainly get more answers. Then it hit me. The email I got earlier also contained a picture of the old chateau. Mansions are designed after what the owners have in mind. I figured if I could find another one similar, I could maybe find its owner, or at least a name on an architect. So I started searching the database with my cell phone, when all of a sudden, bingo, a perfect match. A place known as the Pokemon Mansion in the middle of Route 212. The buildings looked identical. There has to be some connection. So I decided it was time for me to pay a visit to the owner of that mansion. So I made it to Pastoria City, but the Pokemon Mansion was still far from my reach. I walked around until I finally found my way to Route 212. I guess I was still a bit disoriented from my trip in Eternal Forest. And well, the weather didn't seem to like me either. It started pouring, almost as if I was not meant to go there. The mansion was protected by swamps that tried to hinder my progress, but I came this far and I wasn't going to give up. I pushed on until finally it stopped raining, when all of a sudden I had reached my destination. The mansion was open to the public, so I decided to do a little research around before talking to the owner. But no one there seemed to know anything about the old chateau, so I decided to ask the owner himself. According to one of the maids, his name was Mr. Backlot, a very wealthy man in this region. I told him who I was and the purpose of my visit. He turned pale and was shaking a bit. I asked him if he was alright, but he told me he was just a bit sick. That's all. I didn't think much of it, other than his reaction was kinda strange. He assured me that he had no clue about the old Chateau. He told me he was a busy man and he was never in Sinnoh for too long, and that I shouldn't be chasing urban legends. I was back in square one, with no real leads to this case. However, something caught my attention. There was an odd-looking statue in the room. I approached it to take a closer look, when all of a sudden I was stopped by a guard. I wasn't allowed to get near it. I asked him why, and he says those were strict orders from Mr. Backlot. I became very suspicious. What was he hiding in that statue? But I didn't want to pull on a show, so I decided that I would make my comeback in the middle of the night. It was 2 a.m. in the morning and I made my way into the mansion. I remained calm and tried not to be suspicious. I made it back to Mr. Backlot's office, and as I thought, the guard was having a little break. I quickly examined the statue, but there was nothing special about it. Nothing. It was just an old statue. I decided to take a sample piece to conduct more careful analysis, but I felt like I was wasting my time. Maybe I was not going to be able to solve this case at all. Back in Pastoria City, I ran some tests on my sample piece, but all I could find was the statue for some reason seemed to have been exposed to a great amount of heat, like if it was on a fire or something. Fire? That means... no way. I need to confirm this. I must make my way to the old Chateau.